first class of what's going to be roughly around 6, maybe more weeks of storyboarding class stuff. Storyboarding, of course, is pre-planning that you do for filmmaking. Or it's actually storyboarding is also used for more than just filmmaking. It's also used in video games and stuff. And but for our purposes, we're mainly going to be focusing on it for filmmaking, particularly filmmaking for animated films. So one of the first things I want to direct people's attention to is this giant storyboarding resource by this infamous Flooby Newbie thing that was big that I used when I was in college many years ago, and it's only grown since then with a lot more new stuff, and it's a massive resource, a ton of stuff. We were using it throughout the week because it has stuff in it on like draftsmanship for storyboarding, like this kind of gesture drawing type stuff. We'll be and also we'll be getting more practice in this vein throughout the week, by the way. But in any case, this is a massive resource. We'll be glancing through it a bit together because there are some sections in it I want to direct people's attention to, particularly like on shot composition and framing and some of the other rules and stuff. Like these rules of screen direction right here, for example. But yeah, so there's going to be 3 main things I want people to concentrate on for this week, as far as the homework assignments. One is writing your ideas. Two is post-it thumbnailing. Three is reference gathering. So between these 3, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be broken down into it, and for writing your ideas, there's going to be 2 things. There's going to be the brain spew, what I call brain spew notes. And actually, let's make that 3. Concise. Plan. And elevator pitch. And the post-it and I'll explain what all these things are too. The post-it thumbnails. I think it'd be post-it thumbnails. I don't think they needed an A, B, and C. But oh yeah, post-it notes. There's some things to pay attention to. The plus-minus rule. Framing. Perspective. And reference gathering. Film. Existing film. Seeing storyboards. photography. All right, so some of these, by the way, we're only going to touch on, but in the reference gathering thing, I mean, because like a lot of it is like huge steps forward that might overcomplicate things for this week, but I wanted to at least mention them. All right, so some of the things I've written about here. So writing your ideas is the first thing I want to direct people's attention to. Writing your ideas is usually going to be the main starting point where you come up with stuff. So I want people to start carrying some kind of way to jot down ideas at all times with them. I want people to carry some kind of like small notepad, like in their pocket, or keep it by their bed or by their desk, anywhere. It has to be something that you can easily carry around and you can easily open up at a moment's notice to jot down notes in. If you don't have, if you have access to something digitally, you can use something like Google Docs or whatever else. Google Docs is really handy because you can open it up from anywhere. But start getting used to every time you have ideas, having access to be able to write them down as quickly as possible, because so much of like the brain work for solving problems with your stories or ideas, good ideas for your stories, will pop into your head when you least expect it. On that note, I'm going to suggest people should take genius walks. So one of the common denominators between like pretty much like every successful genius scientist, mathematician, author, musician, and stuff is they had like a period in the day. They had like a set period in the day when they would take a I don't know, like a 10-minute, half hour, or sometimes an hour walk. And often when they were out on the walks, they would have some of their best ideas. But not only did like doing this like keep them in good cardiovascular health, which of course, you know, keeps blood flowing to your brain and stuff, and it's good to just do it in general. But they would have like good ideas when they were out in nature or observing things or kind of feeling things around them or whatever, or seeing the busy streets or wherever they lived. And they'd often have like ideas, and like people like Beethoven, for example, would carry like music sheets with him to write down music. And so I do suggest making regular daily walks part of your routine. I've started doing them recently, and it definitely does help. It'll get you a lot more. It'll improve your health at the very least, and it'll give you more energy to. It'll give you more, even if you don't have like genius ideas, which you might surprise yourself with. Even if you don't have genius ideas while you're on the walk, let's put like a little notepad in his hand. Even if you don't have ideas while you're on the walk, like at the very least you'll be improving your general energy so you can concentrate better when you are working. So anyway, so for writing your ideas, like I kind of broken it down into 3 categories. One is your brain spew notes. Those are what I call the brain spew notes. Is you don't necessarily have to format it in any special way. Like you just have like a giant spew of your ideas written down. either handwritten or typed. Typing kind of works well for this, especially if you can type really fast. Being able to just vomit your ideas on the page and play with them and mess around with them and add to them and stuff is really helpful. One of the reasons why you want to go with writing first, not always, sometimes you will like discover characters or ideas through the act of drawing. But one of the reasons why writing your ideas first is so powerful is, or writing your ideas early on is so powerful, is because you have not committed to any kind of a drawing or any kind of visual manifestation of the idea yet. You're playing with it in a very kind of abstract way in the amazing rendering engine that is your head. That can think of your head as almost like kind of a game engine or something, where you get to play with the idea as much as you want and make it come alive in ways that like you can only get like 1 or 2 drops of when you actually do manifest it. So you're able to play with it in that psychic space and see connections between things that are sometimes a little bit harder to see if you start committing too early to drawing. So when you're in that space, you don't feel as you can play with it in ways that don't feel quite as self-conscious also. So you can come up with a really powerful idea that really strongly drives what you're going to draw. So I'm going to be encouraging people this week to be doing that for their own personal work, and also I'm going to be assigning some what I'm going to have you do, like, I want people to try out the brain spew notes method, but what you present next week is not going to be your brain spew notes. The brain spew notes are for you. What you're going to be presenting next week is you're going to be presenting your elevator pitch. The concise summary, we might have you present that too, but the elevator pitch is the more important one. So concise summary is basically like you take the brain spew notes and then you distill the idea into a concise, organized summary. Could be a script, could be like one or 2 or 3 pages of describing the characters in the world and things like that, or a basic breakdown of the idea. But the elevator pitch is essentially like it's the old thing of like you're stuck in an elevator with a film producer or something, and you have only a few minutes to make the pitch, or not, maybe even just a few seconds to pitch the idea. And the idea that the elevator pitch is you want to distill the essence of what makes your idea strong into like a single sentence. So everyone, for this next week, for your idea, for whatever it is your idea that you want to work on is, I want you to create an elevator pitch. And we're going to be doing a really kind of fun exercise for that, actually. You see these 2 characters here. I want you to make an anthropomorphic elevator, that another character that is basically you. You can draw them however you want, by the way. I want you to make a 4-panel kind of comic storyboard. And I want you to use the plus-minus rule in it, where the characters, your character is approaching an anthropomorphic elevator to pitch your idea. Your idea could be a made-up idea or a phony joke idea or something like that, but it has to be an actual elevator pitch by you. And it could be an elevator pitch for another bigger idea that you have that you want to work on. So we're doing kind of a metafiction thing for this week's homework assignment. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, just 1, 2, 3, 4 panels, just limit it to that. I want you to use the plus-minus rule. I want you to use some framing, some types of framing, which we're going to be going over here, by the way. And I also want you to use perspective. Yeah, post-it thumbnailing method, and I want you to use the for the homework. I want you to use the post-it thumbnailing method. I want you to use the plus minus rule, the framing and perspective. Also, the reason why I want you to use the post-it method is because I want you to do this. I want you to do this story more than once. Do it once, then throw it out. Do it again, throw it out. Do it again, throw it out. Or start throwing out individual panels. Do the assignment more than once. Don't be precious with your panels. So what the post-it note method is, the post-it note thumbnail method is well, here, let me show you cartoon. So Cartoon Network artists very often use the post-it note method for creating their storyboards. These are very, very large post-it notes right here, but they use much smaller ones too, especially like for the initial ideas. But they they will extensively use post-it notes because post-it notes force them to work at a certain size and a certain level of detail. So they have to like be really simple with how much information they convey and not like overwhelm it. I wish I could find some better examples here, but basically, like you can use physical post-it notes for this method. You can do a digital version of it where you just limit how big on the page you can draw. Oh, yeah, I'd say this is a pretty good example right here of kind of like the rough size that you get in thumbnailing an idea, basically. Right here from Adventure Time. But I want you to use the post-it note thumbnailing method for creating the idea. I want you to use it more than once and not be precious with it. Like I want you to be ready to throw out your idea. And I want you to do this thing more than once, several times in fact, and be ready to throw out your panels next week. Or throw out your panels based on the feedback you get next week, basically. I will also say that, in addition, this is the main assignment I want people doing, 4-panel elevator pitch exercise. But I also will be willing to give feedback and critique on. As long as it's not too huge, if you've got a more developed storyboard for another project you're working on, I will be happy to give feedback and critique on that as well. Anyway, so the third thing I want people to be doing this week is reference gathering. I want you to gather reference from existing film, existing storyboards, photography, real life, self-made reference, 3D model sets, art there, art, comics, animation, etc. So, reference gathering, I want you guys to also get in the habit of, for your idea, whatever it may be, I want you to. Here's the thing. Right here. So this is where it gets meta. Yeah. So we have two things that are going on this week that I want you guys to be playing with. One is your idea. Your big idea that you want to do something cool with. I'm sure everyone here has like ideas for characters and stories that they want to tell and things that they've doodled or written down or had floating around in their head. This week is your opportunity to brain spew that, do concise summaries of that, and make an elevator pitch line of that. This 4-panel exercise is not that. This 4-panel exercise will use the elevator pitch from that in a kind of a meta thing. the 4-panel exercise, you are free to just jump right in without even necessarily writing anything about other than your elevator pitch. Limited scope. Big or big. Let's ignore this. This has nothing to do with anything right now, so we'll get rid of that. Alright, so this week is going to be about playing with these two things back and forth. The homework is going to use a few drops of your big idea, and your big idea should be the main thing you work on. So whatever it is, start brainstorming for it, and start creating your elevator pitch for it. And then when you're ready for it, ready for using whatever the elevator pitch that you're going to use is in your 4-panel thing, I want you to make a funny, dramatic, silly. We can use whatever tone you want in this, but the main thing is I want you to use the plus-minus rule, which I want you to contrast the mood of each successive panel against each other. I want you to, if like something exciting happens, I want something boring happening. If something funny happens, I want something, like something not so funny happening. It's and I want things to be visually contrasted in panel to panel. So that means like if things look like this in one panel, things could like look like this in the reacting panel, for example. Think of it something like this. There's usually going to be some kind of an internal logic between these story beats. Like there's a bomb and then the bomb explodes, or there's a man and there's like a banana peel. The man slips on the banana peel. But yeah, like when you're doing these thumbnails, by the way, you can do them really fucking fast, like really crude. You're not supposed to be precious with your drawings. Like you can just draw like little stick figures and stuff for them and so on. What you present next week, I want you to present like your best version of that you were able to come up with, that you feel is the best version of your 4-panel assignment. So your homework next week will be to your homework is 1 4-panel elevator pitch. Comic exercise. Oh, forgot to mention there's not going to be, this is a comic, but there's not going to be any word balloons. No dialogue balloons. text here under the panel. Speech text. Speech text goes under the panel. And if you notice, like on first like storyboards and stuff, like here's some Rick and Morty or something. If somebody took a Rick and Morty storyboard text, you have like dialogue or sound effects or whatever under the panel, and whatever character is speaking for the line. To work on work on your personal idea. Right. Ideas for it and create an elevator pitch. And the elevator pitch will, of course, be appearing in text form in your 4-panel pitch. I don't want you to do anything sneaky like trying to draw some of your universe in or whatever your design into it. I want just 2 characters, the you or whatever kind of representation you want to use for yourself. You can draw yourself as an anthropomorphic apple or something, I don't know, and an anthropomorphic elevator. That you're giving a pitch to, and you can draw them however you want. Draw them as simple or as complex as you as simple or as interesting as you like, without overcomplicating it. Gather reference for your personal idea. So what I want you to do for this personal reference for the idea is I want you to this one people should be familiar with, especially if you're taking Nico's class. I want you to try to spend around 8 hours this week. Like total, mind you. You don't necessarily have to spend 8 hours in one day or in one sitting, but I want you to spend roughly around 8 hours gathering reference. If you can spend 8 hours in one sitting, great. It's actually a good idea to do that because you'll be able to meditate on the idea more. But I want you to use like something like PureRef, for example, and then like I want you to start gathering images from films, from comics, from photography. You might need to go outside of PureRef if you use things that have motion in them, like videos and stuff, in which case you make like YouTube playlists for yourself or other things like that. Start putting together a reference library of material that would be relevant to your idea, or that would help you kind of solve problems potentially. Like for example, you might go, like, even if it's not specific to your idea, you might search for cinematography on Pinterest, and then you grab stuff like stuff that show off like possibilities of different camera compositions and other things from existing live action movies, for example. Or let's see. Or you might grab like storyboards from existing storyboards or animatic frames from an existing series like Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like here's some storyboard shorthand of Donatello from Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is how storyboard artists would draw him in shorthand. I can give you some ideas for your future ideas, for example. Let's see, Cartoon Network. Some more stuff here. Even Universe. Storyboards. Here's the section from Cartoon Brew and the do's and don'ts of storyboarding. You can definitely look for stuff like this too. Like there's this looks like it might be handy for people to refer to. So I'll link this one in the chats as well. Someone in Discord chat says they missed the start. What's the elevator pitch? The elevator pitch is a one sentence description of your idea, as if you're like stuck in an elevator with a producer or someone, and you only have a few seconds to sell your idea and make it sound as strong as you can. Yeah, like this is a good example of like, this is some really good storyboard thumbnails and stuff. Let's see. It's a good one. Oh, I know. Nature photography. You can usually like find some really stunning photo reference and stuff, like if you're going to be doing some kind of a thing that involves like natural scenes or natural compositions for your work, for your storyboarding work, or city photography, for example. Start gathering stuff that you can like start, like, you know, like another thing that we're going to be going into a little bit more in the future will be using 3D models for your storyboards. I'm already kind of dipping my toes into doing that because Blender has some really cool shit in it with grease pencil, where you can actually do some like really good. You can use it for like making floor plans and then like quickly modeling a room where you can find your shots in it to like two realistic dimensions from the real world or whatever. Like you can literally like physically model stuff for your sets and and solve a lot of drawing problems that way. Ethan actually Ethan, one of his videos that I have up in the corner here on the screen, he goes over a little bit of that. Like those backdrops in this little this video that he made use SketchUp models and photographs, I believe. Talks about using 3D models in this Tips for Better Storyboards video that he did back in 2019. Yeah, he's also got a drawing for animation storyboards video. I would definitely check both of these out also. But yeah. So I want you to like spend about like let's see, reference randos. Those were non-specific references, but I'm just gonna save them anyway. But yeah, start figuring out what it is like you want to say with your idea, and then the kind of reference you gather is going to sort of be tailored to that. Mind you, this PureRef thing that I have right here, it's free, so it's no excuse. Whoops, wrong site. PureRef, there we go. So PureRef, here's the site. Download this. But yeah, like I said, we'll be getting into Blender for storyboarding in the future too, because we're going to be wanting to do like 3D versions of some of the more elaborate storyboards that we do. Anyway, so there's some other details here. I did a little doodle here showing off. There's notes view and there's summary of your ideas, like the notes view, of course, the brains view stuff. Summary is when you more concisely organize your ideas. Emotional arcs are something we're going to be going into more detail in the future, especially for longer stories. But pay attention to characters' emotional arcs, and sometimes it's helpful to actually plot out a map on a wall of the character's emotions. Like, usually it's on a scale of like happiness to sadness, or different degrees of negative to positive emotion. But you can also track other things like a character's excitement on a different track versus a character like losing touch with themselves or things like that, and it might follow on a different track. But Pixar uses emotional arcs that they map on the walls extensively for their storytelling development. So this is an optional thing for this week, but I want people to be aware of it, especially in the future, because we are going to be using those for mapping out your bigger ideas. But yeah, getting more into framing, I doodled some quick examples of different types of framing, different types of shots. See if we can find a handy reference real quick. Oh, here's a really quick doodly one that somebody made on WikiHow. Handy. The types of shots there are not necessarily limited to this, but this is I'd say this is a pretty good example of different like the different categories of shots here. Like establishing shots are usually like shots of an exterior, or sometimes an interior that establishes where the event is taking place. There's full shot, which usually shows like usually shows like full figure. That's a full shot right here that I did in this panel. There. Medium shot, which is usually like from the waist up, or put the character there or something. Close shot or close up. It's usually like from the usually just the head, but can also be like from the shoulders up. Extreme close up. Usually, extreme close up is often even closer than how this depicts it. Like really, really close up. It can be like that, or it can be like just like just an eye in the whole screen. Upshot. An example right there that I did. This is kind of a down shot here. Overhead angle. And over the shoulder shot. Over the shoulder shots are good for like storytelling, or showing a character who's reacting to another character in dialogue and stuff. Like you could even do something like for the it's a little bit hard to like do an over the shoulder shot on a anthropomorphic elevator who's embedded in a wall. But you could probably do it for your character in your story, who's doing the pitch to the elevator. It's doing this, and then the elevator's reacting here, something like that. Yeah, two shot with two subjects on the screen and a point of view shot. These are just like a few examples of the types of different shots there are for cinematography. It's more than just that. That gives you a good idea of like the range you can use. And there's another rule I want people to keep in mind that I haven't made a note here, which is the cinematography rule of thirds. When you have a panel, or you have a frame of film, compositionally, it's usually good to divide it up into, like, mind you, there are examples of this rule being broken, but compositionally, it's good to divide it up into like thirds, and then you can kind of use the different sections to frame subjects in it. Like you can put a guy standing here, his body's like here, you can put someone like right here in the pinpoint, right there. Choose to frame someone like right in the middle there. You can often see, like, if you watch movies, you can usually like break down the cinematography by the rule of thirds. Like, let's see if we can find a good panel here that isn't like a cropped one or something from a film. Let's see if we can find a good example. Stills. Cinematography stills. This one might be a good one. See if we can find an iconic, recognizable scene, though, that might be useful. Stills. Yeah, a lot of these are cropped. But this one might work, so we'll try those. So for this one, you can kind of see that the two subjects are sort of framed in the center here of the composition. You can see that there's like composition there, composition there, composition there of the kind of, I think it's like a reflective table or surface right there. And then the two subjects are framed really in this tight space in here. They're kind of imprisoned really by like these bars that are around them. This kind of white space. I don't know what's happening in this shot. The characters look like they're wearing trench coats or something, so it might be like a crime. I don't know what film this is from or anything about it, but the storytelling I'm seeing from it is the characters are like possibly worried about being imprisoned or something, and they're discussing some surreptitious knowledge or something. The bars behind them that are being reflected in the foreground, they feel trapped somehow. Is the storytelling that's being conveyed. And they are, in fact, being like kind of, you know, they're being boxed in and trapped like by the cinematography frame itself in this shot. So cinematography becomes a way to, it becomes a way of communication, and it becomes a language in that regard. Like these tools that I'm showing you, I'm basically like pointing to you and saying, this is a noun, this is a verb, this is a compound sentence and stuff. It's up to you to use these tools to compose like stories and poetry, and you know, and make art with it. It's a language to play with, to convey something, to convey an idea. That's why the writing your ideas part, and of course, you know, thumbnailing, is really the root of what you're trying to use to get your ideas out. This is a language that you're going to have to start becoming fluent in. Language of cinematography, the language of storyboarding. And so we're all going to be working on getting better at that together in the coming weeks. Let's see, how long have we spent? We've been at this for about an hour. So I'm going to take a stretch break, but I think everyone here knows what to do. I would like to keep going if people would like. Yeah, I would like to answer some Q&A questions right now, for example. So anyone in voice or in either the Discord or the Twitch text chat, feel free to ask some questions. And also, if you have existing storyboard work that you've done, or comic work or something, feel free to post that in the Discord chat and we can check it out. I might be able to get some, if you're okay with it, I might be able to give some, well, if you want critique, ask for it, otherwise we'll just take a peek at your work. because I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable or put on the spot. But yeah. Well, I think we should maybe like we'll go through Q&A stuff, and we'll also go through these Floopy newbies. We'll go through this Floopy newbie stuff because I want to highlight some of the really important things that Floopy newbie has in here that will be helpful for this week. Could you clarify what the elevator pitch is about? What we're supposed to do on the assignment? Yes. Okay, the elevator pitch is a meta. Okay, let me write that down actually. Google Docs. Saturday next week is the 23rd. Let's do the 23rd. So, homework. A 4-panel comic starring you or some character you giving an elevator pitch to an anthropomorphic elevator character. Also on that anthropomorphic elevator character, you could maybe get away with making him an elevator cage with legs, if you like, if you want to like get shots around him and stuff. But if you want to just embed him in the wall or something, that's fine. A 4-panel comic starring you or some analogous character, you're giving an elevator pitch to an anthropomorphic elevator character. The elevator pitch your character gives should be the elevator pitch for your personal project idea that you want to develop. Weeks in this class or for your own. Pretty access no more. I'll get to that. Let's see here. Use the post-it thumbnail exercise. Do the assignment more than once. Solicit feedback from other people, particularly any storyboard. This you might know. You can ask for feedback in any community. We have our Discord and Ethan's. I'll be trying to see if I can get some of my storyboard artist friends to maybe give some feedback throughout the week. They might be able to help with that. Let's see. Somebody posted an animatic. Cool. Yeah, I'll check those out. Let's see here. Also, I'm not gonna give critique or feedback on anyone who doesn't ask for it. So if you want feedback, ask for it. If not, you can just post your work and I'll just share your work. So I don't want people to feel bad or anything or feel on the spot. unless they want to get some kind of critique. But anyway, okay, so use some freehand perspective in every one of the shots. Use the plus minus rule of contrasting images and moods from panel to panel. Very important. Do the assignment more than one. I'm gonna retype this. Do the assignment multiple times. Do not be precious with your drawings. It's okay to make bad drawings. These are storyboards. You will be making them with clarity in mind. Clarity and staging in mind. Staging of your idea in mind. You will be asked. You must be prepared. Be prepared to throw out your boards when you receive director feedback. Cool. So that's the homework. That's the first homework. Homework 2. Brain spew summary notes and elevator pitch. Take an idea you really want to develop, a story, some characters, some cool thing you want to do. You're going to get to develop and explore it in the coming weeks. The brain spew notes method is pretty much just you using whatever shorthand means you can to jot down ideas as fast as they come to you when brainstorming. Have fun with it and playing with your characters, worlds, and situations on paper. You're at total freedom with this method, and you won't be submitting it for homework. It's just for you. The summary notes is a 1 to 3 page estimate. Summary of your idea, your world, your characters, a working summary that will change over time, that is meant to be presented to other people. You not be submitting just yet, but you can solicit feedback on it while developing it. for now. So the summary notes, there's going to be homework. There will be submissions for it in future. But anyway, I don't want to feel pressured about this stuff. This is up to you. But elevator pitch. Mind you, your idea can be as simple or as complex as you want. What we're going to be working towards in this class is I want people to, even if you have a big magnum opus idea and stuff, I want you guys to like pare down the idea to the point that you can make like a little vertical slice of the idea to just share like a little tiny emotional arc that you'll be able to develop and make really strong. Like a situation with some of your characters that might last only about like 10 or 30 seconds or something, and but says a lot it says a lot in less or something, but is rooted in where it came from, your idea, basically. Like, I'm a big fan of like implying more with saying less. Elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is a single sentence, is a concise single sentence summary of what your idea is. You will be submitting it next week. It will both part of the 4-panel comic assignment, and it will be part of and it will be submitted on its own. Yeah, but yeah, the summary notes, by the way, mind you, I want you guys to work on that even though we're not submitting homework for it next week, because, well, at some point you will, but that'll be after I give you better tools on how to organize it. But for now, I want you to try to put together something that you can share with other people. It's like roughly about like 1 to 3 pages tops of your idea, so you can get feedback on it from other people. Because like your brain spew, this is like your own shorthand, where you might be able to fill in the gaps on what you're jotting down on the page in stream of consciousness. You can spew just any number of things, and the text can be all disorganized and out of place and stuff. But then, of course, at some point, you're going to have to take your brain spew and then organize it into a summary. And so you can present it to other people and get feedback on it. And you're also going to need an elevator pitch to summarize the idea. And the elevator pitch is also useful for testing your idea, whether your idea is strong enough to, whether you understand your idea. This is a test of your ability to understand your own idea. This is a test of your ability to understand and communicate the core of your own idea. Look around online for examples of good elevator pitches, particularly animated film and TV show. Books. Homework 3. Reference gathering. Start making a reference folder collection of relevant reference that will help you with your idea. It can be cinematography, shots to help spark ideas for film language, or can be more specific things to your idea, i.e. horses for a story about horses, etc. What is horses versus? And also gather animated film reference that is close to the look for the film you want to go for in your project. Real life reference and photography, art, comics, and animation are also good sources, and so on. Spend around 8 hours total if you can. Gathering reference for your idea. I will also allow you to, like, if you're Nico's class, some of you might be taking Nico's class. If you've already done like the reference gathering thing for that, you can use stuff from that. If you're doing reference gathering for something already, and you have something started already, then you can just continue. You just keep adding to it. I don't want people to like bust their gasket doing this stuff. And mind you, like this is like all optional stuff. The important thing is I want the important thing is I want people to get the gears turning on their idea, and I try to make like a little fun, concise exercise for people to do, and then add in a bunch of optional stuff for people to participate in. If they want to get more elaborate with it. But anyway, so here I will do a quick share. Here, copy link. There we go. I'll copy that link in both the chats for people to refer to. That's the homework this week. And now I'm going to be taking a look at, well, first off, we're going to be taking a look at some of the posts people made. Then we're going to be going through the Floopy Newbie things. I want to point people in the direction of parts of the Floopy Newbie giant document here that will be particularly helpful for this week. So, all right. Oh, and there's a couple of YouTube videos that I've made, which I can point you guys towards, which will help you out. We'll do that too. So, all right. So, link to animatic I made. Really love feedback. Here's another animatic that somebody wants feedback on. I love feedback. Okay. Cool. All right, we'll take a look at everyone in order then. We've got 3 people. So here we go. So there's clarity in your drawings. So it looks like you've done some animation project work. That's cool. Yeah. I think my impression, based on what I'm seeing, is you're pretty early on and stuff, and you still got a lot to learn. But you have a sense of clarity that's going to help you in the future. There's a lot of draftsmanship issues that I think that you would benefit tremendously from by taking some draftsmanship classes, like at Brainstorm Academy or something. I mean, you can dip your toes into some of that stuff with us in these classes, but I think that the biggest thing that would help you is if you take some really good drawing classes to pump up your drawing, because there's lots of things like this character's kind of, it doesn't really feel like this, like the background here doesn't really feel like it's really quite in perspective. For example, it's a little bit kind of flat and awkward, and the line of actions on the characters is kind of not really concise and stuff. And but I mean, like, I feel like I feel like I said, you have a sense of clarity to what you're drawing that is going to help you in the long run. So the fact that you've done this makes it easier to see the things that you need to work on for when you get feedback. So you're on good footing for when you do enroll in classes like those, and you are trying out stuff that and the mechanics of storyboarding and other things like that. That as you get better at draftsmanship, it's only going to get stronger. So I see a lot of really bright things in your future for sure. But yeah, work on your work on the draftsmanship. Brainstorm Academy would be amazing for you to enroll in, and I would recommend. Let's see, but they got some good foundational classes and stuff. But I would ask them what they think you should take based on your like your portfolio. Um, they do have storyboarding classes too. Um, Yeah, I would ask them about what classes that they think you should take, and definitely give them a try. Another place to check out Studio Technique. Studio Technique, super intense, I've heard amazing things about them. I'm very much looking at possibly enrolling in them myself. But Samantha Youssef is the main instructor from this, and she's freaking amazing and really intense, and she will drastically change how you approach drawing, from what I've been hearing about her. But yeah, like it's those core draftsmanship things. Like I think like your clarity and your basic ideas are on good footing, but now it's just a matter of pumping up your draftsmanship, basically. So, and the quickest way to that, like I said, is to enroll in a really damn good class, and start getting like good feedback and momentum going on it. Stuff. Let's take a look at your reels. I want to see what your sense of motion is in editing, maybe a little bit, or just your storytelling. I'm playing it without the audio on purpose, by the way. I want to evaluate how the panels read without any audio. There was no point in this when I was too terribly confused about what was happening, so that's a good sign. Uh, Again, like there are draftsmanship issues, but like I think that's an issue to be solved with mileage in those classes I was talking about. In terms of like your basic storytelling ability, I'd say that you're off to an excellent start, um, and that your storytelling is only going to improve as your draftsmanship improves. Yeah. So I don't really have anything negative to say. Um, just that I'm really looking forward to what happens when you enroll in some good drawing classes too. Yeah, good stuff. And your characters have a sense of, even though I feel like you need more draftsmanship mileage, your characters have a sense of charm to them that I think is going to come through even more as you improve. So there's like core things I've seen, basically like people who have that kind of charm, and it only improves over time. I like greater animatic. This is not in a format I can play it in right now, I don't think. Sorry. Yeah. Please put this in the format I can play. I don't even know what format this is. Like MP4 or Move or something, or upload it to YouTube. Alright, so I'll leave the audio up on this. This is an Among Us animatic, which there's quite a few of them on YouTube now. And I see you are actually using some of like the... Were these panels done traditionally, or is this... Yeah, I think this was digital. It's digital, but I think it's with a pen that looks traditional at first glance. Oh, I almost forgot. There's the pitch. Next week, you will be pitching your 4-panel boards. If you will be on voice chat, and you will use the live stream in Discord to pitch your boards. Let's see how many people take up on that. I'm not gonna like begrudge anybody who doesn't do this, but pitching your boards before people, and you're gonna be doing it on Twitch. Oh my god, that might actually be not a good idea for some of the more kind of shy folks here. So we might do that. We might do this off of Twitch for shyness sake, so you can practice your pitching skills. Yeah. So yeah, we might do that off Twitch, but I want to give people a chance to go through the process of pitching their board. And the thing is, like, that you should, like, you're gonna want to get over like being embarrassed and doing this in front of people. And no one's gonna hate you for getting up there and stuff. Like everyone goes through this thing at some point where they feel embarrassed to share their work. If you are going to be a storyboard artist or just work in animation in general, you have to get over that. And well, I'm going to try to maybe cultivate a safe environment here so you can practice doing that. When you pitch your boards, by the way, board pitching is its own art form unto itself. You have to act out the board, you act out the character voices, you act out the sound effects. If you're doing it in real life, you often use like body language and stuff, and you do like sound effects, and you do like crummy versions of the character voices, and so on. And you try to get into the spirit of it, basically. You can watch videos of like Disney and Pixar artists and stuff doing board pitches, but this thing also happens in TV boards and stuff. Some of the board artists, pals of mine, are like really amazing at the stuff and make the act of pitching the board like really entertaining. The idea behind it is to sell the idea and also to like get everyone else on board with understanding like what's entertaining about it and what parts of it that need to be highlighted for like for when it goes to animation or other things like that. But yeah, so we're going to be having you do the 4-panel pitch. We might do it before class or after class, and we will probably not do it on Twitch. We'll probably just do it in the Discord, in like my personal Discord, because I don't want people to like feel like putting it out there on Twitch kind of feels a little bit more like it would make more people nervous. But in the future, we might do board pitches to Twitch with people who are comfortable with that. Let's see here. I go first Storyboarding. It's like you're trying to do tie-down stuff on your boards. Been learning since the COVID-19. What have you been studying, by the way? Just curious. So there's bits and pieces of this that are working, but there's like bits where I'm kind of losing it a little bit. And there's like some pacing things. But I think there's good stuff happening in here that could be solved with some editing and fixing. So please hold on to this. I want you to maybe use this as the not next week's assignment, but like future assignments here, because I want to maybe help you polish this board to make it portfolio ready, because it's not too far off. I think there's like a few things that can be fixed and some timing adjustments and some different some panels that can be removed or added that would punch this up. And I'd also want to run this by some of my professional storyboard artist pals to see what they think, and maybe they can give you some feedback on it too. So hold on to this. Mark this for later. This is good. Good start. And I'd say that you're well on your way to making this portfolio ready with some feedback and help. But yeah, good. Let's see here. Animator and storyboard artist. So I'm seeing some good character expressions in there. I like some of the expressions. There's parts where it kind of loses me a little bit, and then there's parts where it gets me back. So that I think that like this I'm not sure what's happening here at the beginning here. This is like kind of confusing. It feels really disjointed at the beginning, and then it starts to slowly pick up. Like somewhere around here, like when the dog turns his head to look at the guy, then it starts kind of pulling together a little bit better for me. Although the setup here is a little bit odd, and also like the cut from this to that is a little bit sudden. I would maybe find another way to handle that. Maybe if he's over on this side of the panel or something, because like we're looking at this dog's eyes, and then like he's like teleports over there. This is like a really jarring transition. Maybe if you like put him about like in the center here, where the dog is. So like you see the dog and then his reaction, and he's standing here, and then you just give him enough space, and maybe pan. You can move the camera to the side a little bit when he's running off screen a little bit or something, like pan to the right. And I feel like this setup could be a little bit more kind of comedically handled, like a stronger reaction pose or something, like a stronger take. There's some way you can definitely plus this. Anyway, hold on to this. I would love to help you punch these boards up more too, for sure. This one I'd say is well on the way. There's a lot of kind of very animator oriented stuff happening at the end, but these days, like kind of board artists sometimes become hybrid animators on a lot of TV productions these days. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. This is really good at the end. Everything there at the end is really good. Like this is the strongest part of the animation. This is the strongest part of the board. Even though this kind of approaches animation might be a little bit overdeveloped for what it is, it works nicely. Like if the whole thing was as well developed as this end part right here, that'd be great. Like I don't mean by adding extra frames, I mean as well thought out, I would say. Yeah, I feel like there's a few more passes that could be done on this to bring it up. Yeah, hold on to that, and hold on to other projects that you might already have going that you're currently working on. Anyone here, because then we can work on polishing them and getting more feedback from stuff. Go back to mine. What was yours? Oh, it was this one. Yeah, I sort of skipped over yours because I was making a note about something. All right, so I'm gonna try to decipher what's happening. Oh yeah, so there's two Among Us characters, and there's like some alien tentacles over there. One of them gets grabbed. Or they both get grabbed. kind of unclear to me what's happening. I mean, I can kind of decipher it and stuff. But like the setup's kind of ambiguous, and I mean, I can kind of get what's happening, but it's not really. It's a little bit too vague. But there are some shots in here that are kind of neat, and there is parts of it where it starts to pick up. Often, like with the newbie storyboard artists, like towards the end of the board, because that's like the latter half they worked on is the strongest part because they put the most effort there, or they started to get more up to speed. So I think there could be more setup here. Like maybe we start with a close-up shot of these two characters. Like maybe we start with an establishing shot showing where the space station is taking place in, but not necessarily because we know this is the world of Among Us. But we start with like some kind of a thing where we don't see the tentacles and we see these characters kind of walking and talking and stuff. They go down the hallway over here. Then there's like a kind of a slow pan to the right. We see like the tentacles kind of slither out, and then like grab them both and pull them off the screen. Then we wait like a beat or two. And then like these characters, like instead of this is kind of, and it's kind of vague what their posing is. Like I don't really know what their posing is, but you could do something like they're kind of like wander on screen, like kind of like stiff and like zombies or whatever and stuff. They're basically, it's implied that they're kind of taken over by whatever creature sort of stuck them on screen, stuff like that. But anyway, I would say do another pass at this and try to punch it up and to make it clear. I mean, like it does look like a thumbnail pass to me, which is fine. But I would say run it by some other people, and if they are running into similar sort of, try to make a pass on it that like where you take the basic ideas and you try to sell the ideas better. Like there can, like I said, there can be better set up for this. Like maybe we cut off the we just see these guys at the beginning here, and then camera pans over to the side. You see how effective that is, even when like this little kind of faked version that I'm doing right here. Like we set up like that, and then like la 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 la. So like a good principle of comedy is stuff appearing from nowhere and stuff disappearing. Objects are people appearing, and objects appearing are people disappearing. It's also a principle of horror, for that matter. And horror and comedy are closely related. So like that thing appearing is funny, also horrifying. And then that thing disappearing is funny. And then like wait a few beats. And then these characters potentially wobbling onto the screen or being like tossed on screen from like the tentacle or something. Maybe you can have like the tentacle fling them kind of back in here, or like place them like chess pieces dropped off screen or something like that. However you want to play it. Like these two kind of zombified characters waddling in. Stuff. Also, I'm not sure what's happening here. Why is this character confused about what's happening here? Yeah, well anyway, that's the kind of stuff that you want to think about. Let's see, somebody got another animatic. Here we go. Nice intro shot, I mean. These boards definitely need to be timed out better for the animatic, I mean. It's untimed boards. So we're gonna have to kind of go through it ourselves. So I can kind of see what you're doing. Like it's like looming and terrifying and stuff. Maybe you can even have like a more of a setup than this. Like maybe this character walks, like you see the shadow looming through there, and then the character steps in there. Then then I think what you were trying to do, judging from this untimed panel, is that you were going to do like a blurred zoom in or something to this guy. Like it does, like the camera zooms in and there's like a blur, and then it goes to whoop, just this little dude, this little guy. And I think instead of this, like what you can do is like when it's still on here, you can have him kind of look over around and stuff and start rummaging for this little list of the deaths stuff in his pocket. So I'm not too sure about the framing here. You can have him pull out the thing from his pocket in this shot right here without this cut, let's say. And then this is fine, although I think I would stage it a little differently. But I mean, like the general idea of him, like the camera overhead, we just see like the rim of his head is kind of not necessarily that bad. As long as we see like his skull hand, we might see his we might want to do a close up on his face, like looking down at the notes beforehand, before he we cut to that though. So this shot's a little vague, in how it's staged for me. I know he's like heading towards this door, but I feel like this one could be staged a little better. I'm not gonna get into too specifics right now, but I'm just talking about what my instincts, my impression are. Yeah. So yeah, I'd want to give more direct feedback on this. But yeah, someone who beat him to the punch stuff. What you can do for this is like instead, like this guy can be like kind of sitting there, looking over this way at this guy, and then this guy walks in, and then there's some kind of like a back and forth between them and stuff. Of like the characters reacting to each other. This is a little bit too abrupt, like there needs to be more setup for that panel. Yeah. Well, it looks definitely like an early pass, a relatively early passport, I would say, but I think it's a few more passes away from being where it needs to go. But good start. I mean, it's a cute character, and there's there's a lot that can be done with it. But yeah, hold on to, if you have any ideas like these that are pre-existing, hold on to them, because these will be the ideas that you're going to be using. In fact, you can use these ideas as your elevator pitch. Like, your cute Reaper animatic thing right here. A adorable Grim Reaper, who has to meet his death quota, stumbles across a competitor and takes out the competition. That's your pitch, for example. Oh, you actually have your voice on here. Do you mind if I play your voice?
It was mine.
Yeah, actually, that's not too far off from the kinds of stuff that the kind of voices you'd use for a storyboarding pitch. Doing your own sound effects and stuff, and often like animatic scratch tracks will sometimes have like placeholder voices by the storyboard artists, acting out the characters, or doing mouth sounds for the sound effects. So like some animatics for TV and film productions, if you check them out, look like a child made them with duct tape and glue, basically, for duct tape, glue, and glitter. You can there's some really absurd looking ones for like big budget movies and big budget animation that look really, really crude and have like really crude sound effects for them and stuff. But anyway, yeah. Let's see here. What were the other questions people were asking? It's okay to be like a storyboard. I would say storyboard animatic hybrid. Well, eventually we're gonna do animatics, but for the next few weeks, we're mainly gonna be working on storyboarding, because making an animatic is practically a separate discipline. Storyboard artists do basically have to work multiple jobs these days. Like these days, storyboard artists have to kind of be. A lot of storyboard artists have to do the jobs of have to do like about 6 or 7 different jobs. They have to be a film editor. They have to be an animatic editor. They have to be a they have to be a layout artist. They have to be a character designer in some cases. They have to be an animator to an extent. It's kind of nuts, which kind of sucks because like there should be more of a division of labor instead of having to pile like all those different things onto one person. But in any case, we're going to be concentrating on storyboarding, so that means like story beats and stuff, and animatics are going to be less important than boards, because animatics are something that you time out and you have to think fourth dimensionally about stuff, and also like there's additional panels you're usually going to have to add into animatics to make them read as animatics. For a storyboard, especially in early passes, it doesn't necessarily have to have every single thing spelled out. Like you just need enough to get the idea across. In animatic is an elaboration on the storyboard, basically. So let's see here. Can you please re-explain the post-it thumbnailing exercise? Okay, I'll do that real quick. The post-it thumbnailing exercise. Let's see here. Post-it thumbnailing. The post-it thumbnailing exercise is a technique where you draw in the size space of roughly about a post-it note, or use actual post-it notes. Yes, the smaller ones. Cartoon Network, Disney TV, and other studios use this technique. The point is to limit how much detail you are tempted to draw and just concentrate on conveying the idea in the idea, shot composition, character placement, etc. in the simplest way you can. And it also lets you not spend as much time on each panel, so then you are not afraid to throw out panels that are not working. You can do this technique digitally or physically. Often it helps to do it physically on actual post-it notes or measured panels before scanning or photoing them, and then drawing them, and then working them out a bit more digitally. I have a question. You described the plus minus rules, panel contrasting each other. Am I missing anything here? Yeah, one panel contrasting against each other. That means compositionally, tonally, or mood-wise, you want to have like you want to have action reaction, set up consequences per panel in this exercise. Like you want to have like each panel kind of like you want to have each successive panel kind of reacting and arcing up and down to each other, kind of like if you have like a close up, then if you have a close up in one, then you have like maybe an opposing shot in the next shot. I want you to come up with how you do that, because like there's a million different ways to do it, but like you want to contrast the panels. How they contrast is up to you, and to what degree they contrast is up to you, but you want to contrast them. Let's see here. There's a Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network. Yeah, there's like, so I'm not going to play these because I'll get a copyright point, but there's a lot of Nickelodeon storyboarding stuff to look at. So if you want inspirations for things, like even this How to Pitch Nickelodeon, for example, right here might be good. That was for pitching your animation, pitching a full production, mind you, not an elevator pitch. But yeah, like there's plenty of stuff here, for example, with artists even talking about in detail about the process of storyboarding that you can get help from. That's the Cartoon Network storyboard. This one's really, really good. I would strongly, I'm going to link this actually. I'm going to say that this one should be required viewing right here. I think they actually talk about the post-it note method in here as well. This one I'm going to make required viewing for everyone, and I'll just link it here because I know that this one is really good. Viewing will be tips. There you go. That should be helpful. Ethan's also got some storyboarding stuff too that I would recommend checking out. But yeah, like this Cartoon Network thing, because I know how good it is, I would strongly recommend watching this. So yeah, like while you're doing this throughout the week, just start kind of searching around and try to find like stuff like this. Pixar storyboarding. Pixar, the Pixar in a Box series. Well, first off, there's a lot of amazing like Pixar stuff to find here. Tinico Pantoja's also got some stuff here. It's funny of him to show up when I'm doing a search for Pixar stuff. I think he'd be kind of amused by that. But let's see here, Pixar Storyboarding Box. So there's the Pixar in a Box course right here. We actually watched a good ways into this the other day in my Discord, one of our group sessions. Pixar in a Box storytelling. So Pixar in a Box, like they explain like stuff for like dummies and plebs who are new to storyboarding, but then they start ramping it up and ramping it up and ramping it up, and they're actually giving away quite a lot of really great information on storyboarding here. So just keep watching this when you start watching it. Story reels and stuff. And then eventually they start getting into lighting and stuff. That's maybe not necessarily our department, although there's some stuff on animation further down, which is good. But then they start going to like computer programming specific stuff, which is probably not our department. Performers, creating objects. Here we go. Yeah, this is when they start getting into straight ahead animation. Watch it straight. This is when they start getting into animation stuff instead of just storytelling. But yeah, like the storytelling stuff takes up a huge chunk of stuff, about down to around, I think here, right there, yeah, all the way down to here, like 43 videos in. So definitely watch this. We watch most of this stuff. And you'll pick up a lot of stuff on like where you want to, because they give away like really gold information and principles of storytelling in this. So I also linked that in there. So that hopefully will give you guys a lot to do between now and next week, a lot to absorb and play with. Feel free to keep working on your own personal work, in addition to what I've done here. But this 4-panel thing is like simple enough for you could put as much energy into this as you want, or as little energy as you want. You can try to keep it to the post-it note method, so that the panels aren't like horribly overdrawn, because I want the strength of the idea to come through, not necessarily the strength of the drawing. So the shots that you choose, and the dialogue that you write, and the that's another thing I need to add to that. So here, okay. No comic book word balloons. This is a storyboard exercise. Dialogue will be under the story from existing shows. Use a 16:9 aspect ratio for your panels. That means like that'd be like widescreen form, 16:9 aspect ratio, widescreen. Basically, like 1080p. So full HD, basically. No comic book word balloons. Storyboard. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good for now. So I'm gonna show you where this gets posted and stuff. Whoops. Link. Why is it not? All right, go. Oh, all right, okay. So this doc, I'm gonna be making a special section in my personal Discord, Spacedad Space Club, for submitting the homework. So let's see, on screen right now. Where should I put it? Homework, yeah, of course, homework posted in study. Story. All right, so you can feel free to discuss and give each other feedback in here, but this is where you submit your storyboarding homework, by the way. And let's see, homework assignments. I haven't posted here in a while, so here is this week's storyboarding homework assignment. I will link the YouTube or the Twitch replay later so you can refer to my class. Lovely. I'll be doing this homework assignment with the rest of you, and I'll also be working on my own personal work. Like literally, the stuff that I've given you, these tools that I've given you, these are the tools that I'm going to be using this week for working on my personal work. And this character that I've been developing here is one of the characters from the story that I'm working on. There's actually multiple stories, so that I'm kind of juggling ideas for. So, but that's the main one that I've been messing with right now. So yeah, I will also maybe repost a low quality image of this in the homework section so people can refer to this huge doodle thing I did, this doodle note thing I did to remind them of what we're going to be doing this week. So yeah, if you guys all enjoyed this class, let's see if there's any additional stuff people have posted or asked about. I want to find out before I go if there's people have any additional questions or questions, suggestions, feedback, kicks in the seat of my pants, anything. Is there still confusion over what the plus minus rule is, by the way? The plus minus rule is a rule of contrast. You contrast the action, what happens in one battle to the next. The easiest way to describe that is you have a bomb and then the bomb explodes, or you have a character in a medium shot and you have a character in a close-up reacting to the medium shot. You have a character in a faraway shot and then you have a character in a close-up shot. Find clever ways of contrasting the panels. They have to kind of correlate to each other. They have to correlate to each other, so there has to be an internal logic to them. But they should not be same. They should not like look the same. They should avoid like boring. This is boring. Let's see how we can fix that. Like it's the same panel every time, so it'd be like maybe we get a side profile of the character there in close up. Maybe we get an undershot of the character with a sky plane. This is this character talking, but like there's contrasting things about like the environment that might be like relating to whatever the character is saying. Like they're trying to reveal some sort of inner. If you're trying to like reveal some sort of inner, like emotional truth of the character for what they're saying, you can play with different panels like that. But it isn't just about how you stage stuff. It's also about what's actually happening there. Like I said, like it's a bomb, and the bomb explodes. It's the simplest way to think of it in that terms. Like that, there's a connected logic there. It's a setup and a payoff, and a contrast and a contrasting action there. think about actions and reactions, or like how one character would react to another character, things like that. We're not going to be like we're going to be going more into how to use plus minus rule 2 in the future, but I want people to kind of play with that. The main thing is just like, don't make your panels boring. Contrast them with it. Contrast what happens in them. Play them against each other. Like you've got a panel where like, sir, please re-listen to my pitch. You can do it, and like it's like a little kind of a pleading scene where the character's like, sir, will you please read my pitch? Like, will you please read my pitch? Sir, will you please read my pitch? And it's like, you can really exaggerate the scale of the of Mr. Elevator. May you read your pitch? Sir, please. Yeah. That's an upshot. That's a downshot right there. A little bit of freehand perspective behind him. That's an upshot on Mr. Elevator. Like that's an example of like how you can stage it and stuff. And feel free to steal that, by the way, if you want to play with that. Just like try different versions of it, see what happens when you contrast panels. You can do stuff like you can make like multiple different panels from different shots and then like mix and match them. Because this is the post-it note method, you can just like pull off a post-it note and like replace it. Replace panels and shuffle them around, see what happens. I want you guys to just get... This is an exercise for having fun with visual storytelling without overcomplicating things. Because you only have 4 panels, you got to make them really simple. They can be really crudely drawn, but the idea has to come across. So what was the other thing? Oh yeah, there was some videos of mine that I was gonna actually link in the assignment here. So there's a couple of videos of mine somewhere in here. That cover some storyboarding tips that might be helpful for folks here. Well, there's some storyboarding class stuff right here. You can go back and look at that. But this is the main one right here that I want people to check out, because I do basically kind of a regurgitation of perspective rules for storyboard artists right here, which would be handy. I want you to use freehand rough perspective, like nothing really too crazy. Like see these little perspective grids that I've drawn in here in these thumbnails. It can be just like that. Just as long as you make a note about the perspective or the camera angle in your panels, we're going to be getting more elaborate with like how like well worked out the perspective are in coming weeks and stuff. But for now, like if you want something to kind of be aware of the rules of perspective so you can utilize them, I've got this video on perspective. There you go. And that'll be in the document here. So yeah, I think we're just about good to go. Let's before we go, let's take a peek. Oh yeah, there's a I remember now. Evangelion. Storyboard. Hang on, I'm gonna look at this off screen real quick so I can find it. But I found a very important piece of storyboarding on Twitter related to Evangelion. I think you know what it is. I have to go back really far to find it. Jesus Christ. Oh, this is not related to that, but here, check this out. This is not storyboarding, but this is something that like a storyboard artist would do. This is by a Netflix director, actually, Izzy Burton. They made a really kind of cool. I've always struggled with friendships. I spent years trying to teach myself to be a better friend. I felt constantly selfish and guilty for not being more attentive, more fun, less in my own world. Oh. But after speaking with my therapist, I'm learning that I'm just a bit different, and that friendships aren't always how they are in movies. Oops, part 2 on the right panel. I need a lot of space. I am happiest when I'm creating, when I'm quiet, doing my own thing. I put myself under a lot of pressure with work and relationships. I write endless lists to help clear my head. Sometimes even lists to make sure that I check in on all my friends. But most of the time, I don't have the capacity to spot when my friends need me. But I'm always there. I've learned I need clarity and honesty. I just need my friends to let me know when they need me. I'll be there in a heartbeat. If I don't talk to you for months, I know I still love you. I'm just tired, and I find it hard to be social 24/7. My therapist told me it's like putting up a velvet curtain as opposed to a wall. You can always find me when you need me, but sometimes I need to be unavailable for my own sanity. My friends, I hope you know how much I appreciate your kindness and friendship. That's really cute, and they got a well-deserved almost 18K retweets for that, I think. That's a great example of a really good storytelling to tell some kind of a little bit of personal piece of personal vulnerability in a really cute, simple way. Like, these are very, very simple, crude sketches, but they get the idea across. And this isn't too far off the mark from like the kind of drawings that I would want to see from you guys for next week, as far as like, you know, the level of detail and stuff. Like, these are just simple drawings, but they're clear, and they get the point across and stuff. So the other thing I wanted to show is here. I'm going to try to find it real quick. Give me a second. It's the Evangelion thing. Very important that I use this to close out. So just let me look it up real fast. Well, first off, there's this. So this is a storyboard from Evangelion. But yeah, they even in anime productions, these panels are like kind of post-it note-y size. Look at how much detail they're able to get in these. Yeah, geez. It's from the Evangelion movie, I believe. And look at this. Like that one, I also found this one. This is from something else. Yeah, see. I mean, it's all about just like getting the idea down, basically. But this is the important part I wanted to show you. So people who know my streams know what this is. Who've been on my streams know what this is. Let's see here. There's also an important segment. Somebody snipped here. There we go. My boy, the penguin. So today, it's a good day, and we're going to be meeting up next week to get homework and to get feedback on the homework for everyone here. And we'll be working on storyboards for the next 6 weeks, maybe more than that. And yeah, so I'll see you guys all next week, and also see you guys again Monday, because Monday will be. We also might do like a little drawing meetup tomorrow too, but I'll announce beforehand for that. But and that'll happen just in my personal Discord. But we'll meet again next Monday. Monday we will be doing more figure drawing and more kind of drawing exercises that are storyboard artist oriented stuff on Monday for 5:30. So I'll see you guys then. That will be meeting up in my Discord on my Twitch on Monday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. But congratulations for all of you sticking around to the end, and I hope you make some awesome stuff for next week for us to check out.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations. 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 Congratulations.
Congratulations!
Congratulations.
Congratulations! Thank you all.